Hey, what's up, nerds? In September of 1996, InQuest Magazine dropped a red-green monster of a deck called Landkill Lightning, designed by Rich Lipman, who meant to blow up your opponent's lands and swing fast with big creatures like Balduvian Hordes and Yavimaya Ants. Balduvian Hordes? Yavimaya Ants? We're talking 1996 here. I remember flipping through pages of issue 17 like it was a sacred scripture. My poor college student budget couldn't afford this deck, but what would it look like in 2025? So I net decked it. Card for card, no proxies, just vintage jank and dreams. Landkill Lightning was all about resource denial and aggression. A red-green deck that wanted to destroy your opponent's mana base and then trample all over them and their broken dreams. So let's break it down. For land destruction, we had Stone Rain, Pillage, Thermokarst, and even Forgotten Lore to recycle them back. Aggro threats like Balduvian Horde, Yavimaya Ants, Jostle Worm, Elvish Ranger, and Rogue Sky Captain. You had burn and utility cards like Incinerate, Lava Burst, and the underrated Stormbind to help close the games. Control tools like Icy Manipulator, Phyrexian Portal, and even Zurin Orb for a sneaky little buffer. And for mana fixing, Carpulsan Forest and Findhorn Elves to keep the tempo spicy. Keep that tempo spicy. So I ignored the sideboard for now and just took a look at the original deck list. I dug up some old copies of InQuest online, which I'm going to put some links below in the description, and printed out some price guides from that issue. Yeah, this is how we used to get our prices, people. They were in magazines. And based on prices in that very issue of InQuest, number 17 from September of 1996, this deck in 1996 would have cost $133.70. That is $270.35 in today's money. Ouch. Did any of those cards sound like they were that valuable? Back then, Balduvian Horde was the chase rare of alliances. Its low price in that issue was $18 a pop. It was hyped as the next Juzam Jin.
Lie!
Today, well, you can snag it for 5 cents. It's bulk cardboard with a bad attitude. Same goes for Essence Filter and Forgotten Lore. Cards that once had value for being playable, I don't know, just lost to time. I guess like Forgotten Lore. But here's the kicker. I rebuilt the deck today. TCG Player optimized it. All for under $60.
I'd buy that for $1.
And that's in 2025 money. Even with cards like Carpulsan Forest, Icy Manipulator, and Phyrexian Portal, you can finish the build for less than a Commander Precon. But is it any good? So we got to talk about something serious here. We need to talk about power creep. In 1996, Incinerate was premium burn. 2 damage spells were common, but what about a 3 for 2 with no regeneration clause? That was hot tech. I used to love regenerating things. But today, we've got Lightning Strike, Play with Fire, and burn spells with upside. Not to mention, Lightning Bolt was already pretty badass, and that had been around since Alpha. Cards like Thermokarst and Stone Rain, they used to be staples back then, but now they are unplayable in most formats because land destruction is taboo, I guess. Not any fun. Suck it up, chumps. And creatures, Balduvian Horde used to be a bomb. Now, 5/5 for 4 with the discard downside is like a joke compared to creatures like Questing Druid or Thundering Raiju that do everything without drawbacks. Even support cards like Icy Manipulator, once a must-have in control decks, have been power crept into extinction by more efficient colorless tap effects or instant speed interactions. Okay, after all that power creep talk, does this deck still slap?
Never heard, never fake.
still does in its own weird old school way. Cracking thermokarst into Pillage, swinging with Yavimaya Ants and Balduvian Horde, and burning face with Lava Burst, it still feels mean. Yeah, it's not competitive by today's standards, but it's fastish for pre-modern, disruptive, and totally playable at the kitchen table or maybe at a retro event. But doing this, building Landkill Lightning, was like cracking a time capsule, filled with rage, weird tech, and cards that used to cost 1,000 billion times more than they're worth today. Balduvian Hordes for 18 bucks. And it also made me realize the value of these cards may have dropped, but their joy hasn't. I loved this era of Magic. And it just reinforced what I already knew. The value of these cards might not be there, but that era was priceless for me, and the joy hasn't faded. If you are an old school gamer looking to play some fun 90s jank, well, look no further than old copies of InQuest, Scry, or Duelist online. I'll put some links at least to the InQuest magazines below. So what old InQuest brew should I do next? What do you think of Landkill Lightning? Why would you build an old deck like this if you weren't going to play it at the kitchen table? Hey, I love talking to you guys. Thanks for showing up. If you want to talk about more old school Magic and fun stuff like that, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button and ring that little bell. Take care out there. We'll see you soon.